viewers, I still have my guests, Queen Nadia and Ambassador Perrin. Both are from France. Welcome back, Queen Nadia.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome back, Ambassador Perrin.
Hi there.
Okay, now SDG 4 calls for quality education for all. I am sure you are conversant with SDG 4. What role should government and partners as such play to support Africa and the world a whole in achieving goals? Because like we discussed earlier, there are lots of challenges in this global digital time that we are. Finance carries connectivity and gadgets. What way do you think the government can step in to do something so that you, IC guru, Queen Nadia, who's largely into NGO, we need all the help we can get. So how do you think government, what role can government play to help the world, you know, live invariably in this digital world?
You want me to start?
Yes, please.
Okay. So I think there's the same thing, and I'll try to be concise, promise.
Okay.
I think what is required today is that government does the regulations properly, that it allows regulations for companies to come in and assist, right? I think we need to get out of this aid syndrome where everyone is about aid. I think Africa is perfectly capable of doing things on its own. It just requires funds that will still require, which is an investment. And if you want investors, you need to create an environment where people are ready to invest, which means that you need to have a stable environment. Devaluation of currency is being monitored or at least managed. Loans in the private sector are being managed, et cetera, et cetera. So I think those things need to be managed. The other thing is a government is a regulatory body in a way. So our Ministry of Education is the same. So how do you do that? It is, how do you make sure as a Ministry of Education, when you don't have the funds, when you don't have the people and you don't have the skills to do everything, how do you manage to get something proper out? And I think it is all about partnerships and collaboration. And today I think a lot of the companies, we do the same thing, but a lot of the other companies, larger companies as well as small companies, are actually willing to looking at private-public partnerships, working together, because it's all about impact, and especially in the educational sector, a lot of things are about impact, right? You've got an interesting thing going on in Zimbabwe, which is called EduNet, where they provide connectivity as an intranet, right? So through government, but with the private sector, they've built an intranet which allows schools to have access to education and to e-learning. Now that is something that is completely new, and it allows actually schools to have access to internet from a certain standard up, about $3 a day. So $3 a day is feasible. Because what is your problem with connectivity is going to be your OPEX. It's not your CAPEX. Your CAPEX is going to be the same, but your OPEX is going to be a huge difference if you create it that way. So that is something that has been done. And that Africa for that is amazing, because you still have, you're not like what I think what Nadia is trying to say also with schools or anything else in Europe. We're kind of formatted. We know what we need to do. We know how to pass the exams, because basically you write what the teacher wants to hear, and there's no creativity in that. The African continent, however, still has that creativity and has the way to go out of the box. So certain people will still have that in Europe. It's not a problem, but a large majority doesn't. And I think Africa still has that, what in French you call it des merdes. People can figure it out. They will figure it out with small things, with not much. They come up with solutions that actually work very well.
Yeah, creativity.
Creativity is important.
So in other words, the way forward is partnership and collaboration.
Yep.
The government and the government and the private entities have to come to the aid of individuals, especially NGO. Like Queen Nadia, what do you have to say on this? Collaboration you've had few of them already.
Probably I will get some enemies when I will say what I have to say about that. but doesn't matter. Okay, for me, education should be a human rights status. Okay, so we hear everywhere that the government has no money, the Minister of Education has no money for this education, etc. I'm sorry, the government have money. Instead of investing in destructive weapons and killing the others, instead of sending our children to be killed or to kill the others, okay? Instead of creating some viruses like what we are living at this moment, they should invest in education, because tomorrow they won't be here. Our children will continue, but what they have in hand, nothing. Hatred, war, destructive weapons, nothing.
Well, in a way, the capital of the country is its human resources.
Yeah, so yes, we are talking about Africa, but Africa is a very rich continent. All the wealth is there, and the biggest wealth that she's qualified as poor because the biggest wealth is education, and it is a big lack there. It's missing there. So if we give them the possibility, the chance to receive a high quality education as human rights status, yes, Africa will change. And if there's a problem, I think there's a problem with the leadership. They need to focus on something else.
A major problem, like you said, the money is there, the funds are there, but they are being channeled to things that we don't necessarily need at this moment. If this huge chunks of money are directed to education, to financing the digital connectivity needed for school to run, for teachers to get access to the students, the world will be a better place. A recent report shows that in total, more than 50 million children remain out of school in the sub-Saharan Africa. Now we keep asking the question, where is Africa getting this wrong? And what practical steps can African countries take to improve their educational learning system? I mean, like you said, this money we have in Africa, Africa is rich, Asia is rich, the Europe is rich. We just need to direct things the way they are needed.
Exactly.
Perrin, right? We need to, where is Africa getting this wrong? What do you think can be done for this channel? How do we get to this right channel? How do we infuse this knowledge to them? How do we solicit? Plead, cry if we have to do, because we need to get them to divert these funds to where it is needed. How do you think this can be achieved?
I think there are two issues there. I think one is education is a long-term thing. Yes. Politics is short-term. Right? So short-term and long-term are not very easily combined. And especially in politics, when you need to get your job in the next 4 years re-elected, right? You need to show for something. So where things are going wrong is when we put in devices, for example, because that's something you can show for, right? Everyone gets a device, everyone gets a tablet or something, but you don't do teacher training. So everyone gets a device and you can't do anything with the device. There's no point in providing it with a device. So I think those are things. So I think there's an issue with long-term and short-term, which are maybe not compatible. So maybe take it out of a space and say, okay, our educational plan is for the next 20 years and that's it. But that is complicated for a government. So in certain cases, it might work with governments that are in place for huge amounts of times, but in general, that is not very recommendable either. So it's kind of chicken and eggs in my way.
Wow.
So how do you get leadership to move? I think in a certain area, I think, for example, what France is doing, France is putting the focus on vocational training, right? Competency development, vocational training, adults is important. I think the other thing which is important in this case in Africa is educating the mothers, if you want, right? Educating parents. And not so much in educating parents as in being a parent, but giving them the opportunity to be independent, to be either entrepreneurs or enter a job, whatever you want. but to give them those skills that they desperately need because they don't have them. So, and that is the only way you can do that, is building schools, allowing your connectivity to move. So that means also for connectivity is being a regulator as a government with telcos and say, okay, guys, for public interest, the rates for data, for example, need to go down in certain areas, or for education, or for certain sites, or those kind of things. There's lots of things that can be done in a government.
You're right. Queen Nadia.
Yes, I think I will have also enemies.
Again?
Again.
It's okay. It's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
I don't think, Nadia, we're going to make lots of friends today.
The enemies will see the truth
But,
in what you are saying, and nothing will happen. No war will come out.
I mean, when I say enemies, I want
understand.
the people to wake up. I want them to wake up. Stop to be dependent on others. Actually, the problem of Africa is the financial system.
Yep.
What is imposed on Africa. Okay? So people need to wake up and say, okay, enough is enough. We have the wealth. We have everything. Okay. So we need really to be independent financially because we have the whole wealth here, you know? But if they don't accept the change, again, if they don't accept the change within them and get out from this monetary slavery, they will never change. Okay? They need to say, okay, let's develop made in Africa. You know, I will tell you one story. This is very interesting. I will not mention the name of the country, but there's some countries, they are producer of potatoes, okay? They have the potatoes. And they are selling their potatoes outside of the country. They are exporting, okay? And in exchange, they are also, let's say that they are selling that 10 cents the kilo, okay? It's just an example. 10 cents the kilo of potatoes. And what they are buying ships from the European countries at, let's say, one euro, okay? So do you think that it's not, that they will not gain more if they produce the ships in their land? They have the potatoes. They just need to invest in the technology. You know, they need to invest in the technology. This is very important. Okay?
Yes.
And each country can be independent like that. You know? This, to develop agriculture and bring the technology. Instead of buying from you your ships, I will make my ships in my country because I have my potatoes. Why I have to sell to them? And the country, I hope I sorry for my English, but I hope you understand. Yeah. My God. But I mean, every country can be independent. The one who has not the potatoes can produce potatoes, invest in agriculture, and the one who has not the ships, he can invest in the technology. Then everybody can exchange and be independent.
Yes, it all comes down to skills development.
Aide-moi un petit peu, je veux.
Non, mais je vois ce que tu veux dire. So it all comes down basically to skills development.
Tu sais ce que je veux leur dire?
Oui, je veux bien.
Voilà, c'est qu'il y a des pays, en fait, ils vendent leurs pommes de terre ou leurs tomates à l'étranger et en échange, ils achètent des chips, ils achètent des concentrés de tomates, etc. Mais si on leur apprend à faire des concentrés de tomates et les chips dans leur propre pays, ils auraient, tu vois, ils vendent à 10 centimes leurs produits et ils achètent à 30 centimes. Donc, ils sont perdants d'abord. Tu comprends ce que je veux dire? Alors, et je veux qu'ils soient indépendants, que chaque pays, en fait, il soit autosuffisant, en fait.
Oui, non, ça j'entends, ouais.
Alors, explique ça, en fait. She will explain you exactly what I want to say. I'm sorry.
All right. So basically what it comes down to is it is for every country to be independent. So that means, for example, let's take an example of Ghana. Ghana is an exporter of cacao, right? But they don't really transform a lot of, you don't see enormous things in the world market on Ghanaian chocolate. Well, if you transform it, they actually can make a lot more and to make it into made in Africa products and to become independent. So it's a whole transformation cycle that you need to get in there. However, said that, and I think it's a good idea, for that you need skills development.
Yeah.
And for that skills development, you need human resources.
All right, moving forward. Queen Nadia.
Yes.
As an ambassador at large of the International Human Rights Commission and a forceful champion for human rights, inclusive of women and young people around the globe, what motivates you to continue to work towards combating human trafficking and child abuse? Child abuse has become a menace in the world at large. We hear lots of stories, we see things that we're not supposed to see, and it has become paramount to do more in this aspect. What is your motivation and how has it been combating human trafficking and child abuse?
Yeah, my love for humanity. I am here for the weakest. I have seen a lot of things in my life. I traveled a lot. I have seen a lot of things in my life. And I have seen people showing their superiority to others. You know, all this human trafficking, all this, when you are violating the human rights, it's one step back of humanity. Okay, we are in the 21st century and we are still we made a giant step in technology, and we are still fighting for human rights. We are still fighting against crazy people, ill treatment, rape, lot of things, you know. So we need really to concentrate on that and say, stop, enough is enough, you know. Why not to forgive? Why not to forgive and forget and start from zero? Because we know that people who will kill the others or practice the ill treatment, rape, etc. Maybe, and I'm sure that this person has a big problem, mental problem. Why not to go directly to the source and treat the source at its root, you know? To start from zero. Let's forget. People who need help, we are here to help them. But be sure that I'll be always there to fight for weak people, the weakest in this planet. And I want something also, what is very, very dear to me is also to protect the women and children. Why women and children? Because the woman, from her, humanity starts. Without her, there's no humanity. So she needs, and the children are the sacred fruit of this humanity. They are the future generation. They are our future leaders. And we need really to protect them. And this is because they are sacred. They really need our attention and our protection. And it is my big fight to protect every children, every woman, and eradicate child labor from this planet also. And to bring the respect. I believe in men. I believe in humanity. I think that within each of us, we have something beautiful. We have something good. So why not to develop that? And this is what you understand now better why I insist in peace education. You know, because if you bring the peace education from the beginning and you give that to the woman, you give that to the mothers, be sure that it will be spread everywhere. And the world can change. Really, peace education is
All
the
right.
essence of everything.
Yes,
I hope I
you
answered
did.
to your question.
Yes, you did. Now, Ambassador Perrin, this is for you.
Ah, here we go again.
Online education is often criticized as an inferior form of education until the COVID pandemic came to be. What's your reaction to this change?
I don't think it's an inferior way of teaching or education. It's a different way of teaching. And it's a very different, and that's what I said earlier in the discussion already. It is a very different approach to learning, right? It is very much based on people wanting to learn instead of being spoon-fed with what they're supposed to know, right? So what government or what Ministry of Education decides what needs to be done, because sitting in front of a computer for a whole day, I see it with my daughter who's just gone into back to university. They've got an hour class a week and the rest is digital and everything is done in PDF forms. I can guarantee you it's really not very motivating. So content building, for example, for education is more based on gaming than on normal educational practices, right? If you look at gaming, right, you've got these, let's say you've got these games that kids are doing, and when you come into the room, there is nothing. A bomb can drop on their house, whatever happens. They still continue playing whatever game they're playing on this video thing that we would think, my goodness, what are you doing there? But this is something they're just absolutely captivated by it. That is what is supposed to go into education. So how do you make content that is captivating, engaging, and allows people to transform, if you say, the knowledge that is just dumped on you into something that is integrated into your head and sticks to your head? So that is one thing. Is it inferior? No, I don't think so. However, do people need human contact? Yes, I think they do. Right? What I miss most is going into the countries and working with people directly and all that kind of stuff, stuck in front of a Zoom video. Yeah. I really enjoy talking to you, but I'd rather have been in Nigeria to be able to speak to you face to face.
Okay.
Okay. So I think people still need that connection. They still need that interaction. So connectivity at the moment, or that platform allows us to do that for the moment. We, for example, we do the digital literacy. And we, within the platform, we noticed that what is lacking, or what was lacking, is the face-to-face teaching and the tutoring and the chats and how do you interact directly with people. So we integrated that into the platform. So when people do the course, they actually have someone next to them in a way, which is virtually, like you see me here, who can say, okay, guys, looks like you're stuck here and here and here. Is it on IT security? Is it on Word? Is it on competencies, different things, on online learning? What is it? Can we help you out? So it is that extra touch, that extra binding that people need to be able to connect. And I think you can't take that away. So you still need the interaction, even if it's digital at the moment. You will still need some kind of form of connectivity and connection with people. And you cannot only do it through just looking at a screen and just watching a screen.
Yes, every form of education is actually important and useful. But as the world is evolving, we have to go into the digital world. And right now, the digital world, the digital education is paramount, and that's the way forward.
It is paramount, but hold on. If you go step back one step. With digital doesn't mean that you can't do evolve anything else. So for example, what you can do in primary education is you involve the house, right? So when kids need to count, let's say they need to learn how to count to 10, right? You give them a thing and you say, okay, I want you to go and find 10 potatoes. I want you to put 10 potatoes and you're gonna help mom cut 5 carrots. Do whatever you want, but make it something fun, make it something practical. And involve parents. What we've seen here in Europe is, since this this COVID situation, is that parents have taken a new interest into education, right? So far it had been education is the problem of the school. The teacher is supposed to educate, and the teacher is supposed to me, education is my kids, when my kids grew up or were growing up, saying thank you, good morning, good evening, and all that kind of stuff is considered my job.
From you, right? Yes, I suppose.
Learning how to read and to write, I supplement that, but it's the job of the teacher.
Okay.
Okay. being a citizen, being socially capable and everything, it's a parent's job as well as a teacher. So the connection between teachers and parents is very important. And I think we've lost that over time. And I think that is something that is coming back today, where one is that parents realize that a teacher's job is not an easy job.
It's not. It
is not an easy job. And I think we need to realize that. A lot of people will say, well, teachers, oh, they've got lots of holidays and everything else. And in a certain way, compared to the private sector, yes. But they're also, remind ourselves, they're training the future of this country, right?
Yes.
To give them a break from time to time. Yes, there might be things. Competency development, however, is something that is absolutely crucial and that has not been done with teachers. And that is something that needs to be done. So there's different areas. So that is, in a nutshell, a long nutshell.
You're right. Queen Nadia.
Yes.
There are cultural norms that prevent, it happens a lot in Africa, and I know in Asia, and I know in Europe. These cultural norms that prevent the girl child going to school in some communities. Now, as the president of the Success World, whose mission is to provide quality education for the less privileged, what is your view on this girl
Can you
child?
repeat? Because, can you just repeat? I couldn't hear everything. Yes, please.
I said in some communities, there are some restrictions placed on the girl child education. Those cultures that think the girl child education is a waste, it's not important, she's invariably going to marry in future, and she's reassigned to the kitchen level, to the house chores level. What is your stake on this embargoes placed on the girl child education in some rural communities? What do you think about it?
Yeah, you see, this is also the problem of identity. People identify themselves to a religion or to tradition, all what is exterior, you know. People are receiving, they are repeating something that they have received before. For example, the children, the girls who are not going to schools, okay, who are not going to school, this is because their parents received this teaching before. They told them, because a girl need to marry, need to have children, this is the role of the woman, this is the role of the girl. There's a problem of ignorance. Why? Because they were taught by ignorant people who receive only the relative knowledge. You understand now why it is very important, the base of the absolute knowledge and the relative knowledge. Because if you are taught by ignorant, condemning the girl since when she is a child, it's a big ignorance. I'm telling to these people, listen, can a body walk with one leg? No. So why are you condemning the equality between men and women? Why? Why the girl has to stay at home, to get married, to not receive any chance? Be sure that a nation who has no consideration for a woman and who is ignoring the importance and the value of a woman will collapse. Today, in the biggest countries in development, if you see Europe, America, other countries, these countries, they have the evolution, they are in the high level of educational high level. Why? They are giving the chance to a woman to be also what she has to be. You know, we are not, why to follow a tradition that is not confirmed? It's not really confirmed. Why? I mean, for example, some religion will tell you, okay, do that, don't let the child. I grew up in a Muslim family, okay? And I know that I had the chance that my parents wanted absolutely their children to receive a very high education. but other girls had not the chance to receive that. And it is really painful to see that these people, they are not making evolution in their mind. They are always repeating the same mistakes, and they are imposing to their children and condemning their children to live exactly what they have left, what they were living before, because they receive the same teaching. And that we need to reform that. We need to break this system, because a nation cannot be a nation without considering the woman. Everything starts by a woman. If she is ignorant and we don't empower her, the nation will not make any evolution and will surely collapse. We need to see the equality between men and women, and that it starts from the children. We need to give them this, to teach them this equality. This is what I was telling you. There's a problem of identity. They identify themselves to all what is external to them: tradition, religion, skills, etc.
Should start from the family,
Yes.
base. The parents should imbibe in their children this equality, so that even when they are being treated differently outside, they know for surety inside of them that this is not how it's supposed to be. I should have the same rights this person. Even in the workplaces, some bosses do it. There are some assignments they don't assign to the female gender, and you keep wondering, why is that? All right, moving forward. Do you feel African governments are supportive of NGOs like the ones you have, who are positively contributing to the country's education and technological sector? Do you think the governments are doing a good job partnering and collaborating with NGOs like yours?
Always for me?
Yes.
Okay. I think that the government, if they pay attention, if they really work with NGOs, it will be a big impact in the world. Because I think that they are working, but separately. If they are more close together and exchange and communicate together, I think the results will be more
outstanding.
Impressive.
Yes, yes. You're right. Ambassador Perrin.
Yes, Mrs.
Are you still with us?
Of course I am.
Okay. As the Vice President of Training and Youth on the Board of Committee of Aven Rain CCE, what are your thoughts about unemployment, especially amongst the youths and women in Africa? What do you think is the way forward?
I think the key is skills development, right? Which is, I've been kind of advocating this through this whole interview, actually. But I think it's key is skills development. So there's digital literacy to allow people to have access to skills development at a larger scale. It is for a government to develop vocational training in a large sense, and it is providing families, and I think this is where Queen Nadia is very focused. It is for families to, it's not easy to change tradition in a family, right?
Yeah.
People have got beliefs, they've got tradition, they've got pressure on their heads from communities and everything else. It's not easy. So providing education to, and that is where I'm saying parents, and more importantly, women, is to give them this freedom to think for themselves, to do their own things, and to create that independence, economic independence, right? If you're looking at Asia, economic independence is starting to come in the developing countries. India, everything else, they're starting to have a certain independence. Africa, we're not always there, depends on the countries. But you have to understand also on the African continent that the woman is the one who manages the family. The one who is in Angola is the one who provides for the family, right? And who provides for the children, who provides for the education, and the husband is I'm not going to make any friends here, I think, but I think it's kind of an accessory. Okay, and that is just.
Saying, hold up. Are you saying in Angola it is the responsibility of the woman?
The woman will do 3 jobs. The woman will deal with the children. The woman will make sure the kids go to education. The woman will make sure that they get fed. The husband will make sure she gets children.
Oh.
Okay, shall we put it that way? I'm not sure if we oh, this is a live stream, so this is not very good what I'm just saying. But okay, fair enough.
It's okay. Like when Nadia said, you're going to make enemies.
It's fine. It's fair enough. I've always said what I thought, so that's okay. But in a way, I think it is complicated to change beliefs, and I think you have to start somewhere. And I think women are the key to that.
Yeah,
women are the key to that. Women also tend to come to a group and say, okay, if we work as a group, we can collaborate and we can make things better. And women don't tend to fight. You have exceptions, obviously. I'm not saying it's men and women always, but I think there is a tendency of coming together and trying to make things better. And you want to make things better for your children. You want to make things better for your environment. But I think it's making things better in general. And I think women are the key to that. So to me, Africa, the future, one is, I think there's a couple of things we need to realize. The future of Europe is Africa. I think that is one thing that we need to remember. The demographics, the possibilities for work. We're a very old continent. You're very young. You have a very young continent. The skills development needs to be done, and you will need to go through people that have been gone through that already. So the knowledgeable, call it the knowledgeable, whatever, les sages, if you want, which will be, in this case, the developed world. But if the developed world can't transform fast enough, Africa can take over easily. You have the wealth, you've got the demographics, you've got the youth. You don't have the skills at the moment, but skills is something can be developed. Look at South Korea, right? South Korea 30 years ago was where, or 40 years ago was where? Look at where it is today. Okay, and it's all about education.
and leadership.
Leadership and education.
Yeah.
Leadership is
Right.
leadership. The new leadership will come in Africa, and there's a couple of countries that are taking the lead on that one. Not many yet, but some of them actually are doing a lot of things. So it's not always easy. It takes time to change. How long has it taken for Europe to have a democratic environment like we have today? And it's not always functioning. That's 200 years, right? We're talking 200 years. What are we looking at Africa at the moment? We're looking at what, 50 years, 60 years of independence? Right? So it takes time to change things, and it goes faster with technology. Okay, fair enough. But you know what? The mind of the people are not as fast as technology. So it's going to take time, and it will work through it. But to me, there's no doubt about it. I think, to me, Africa is the future of Europe. And this is what I've told my children. It's also why I've taken my kids to Africa, to see it, to understand it, to feel it. It's important. And I think we're all on the same page. We're all in the same boat. And I think it's all about collaboration and partnership.
Yes, you're right. Okay. Now, this question is for you both. I want you to advise, because it's no news that it has been tough for the educational sector lately because of the pandemic. What ideas can you prefer to school owners on how to raise funds? You know, the educational system is now online. It has gone digital. The people are no longer coming to school. They're not having this social closeness with the teachers and the other students. Now, the school per se have been out of, will I say, business, funds. How do you think they can survive this? How do you think they can still make good enough money to keep running the school despite the pandemic situation, despite the online schooling? How do you think school owners can still make money enough? Because not all parents are partaking in the online studies. Not all parents are paying, and the charges are not like the normal system. I don't know. How do you think the school owners, the business people, how do you think they can cope?
You mean as in private schools?
Yes, yes, as private schools. Of course, we know the government have their own different structures. The private owners, the business owners.
I think the trick eventually will be in teacher training. Is if your teachers can transform to digital and provide proper digital training or education, I don't think a school owner will have a real issue. However, he will still have the problem of connectivity, which is everywhere. So I'm not sure, and I'm not sure if this is actually a question that is actually helpful, because I think the private sector and the private schools have got lesser problems than government schools at the moment. Public schools have got real issues to deal with at this stage. I think private schools, yes, but I think is why would we put, and that's very much my vision, is why do we put children in private schools if public schools is available?
Okay.
So,
yes.
so why not upgrade the educational system in the public sector? And yes, okay, I understand there's a business case for a private sector. I don't have any issue with that, and I understand all that. But I don't think the question today is about the private sector or the private schools. I think it's more is how do we assist governments at the moment to ensure that they have either funds or capabilities to transform this and actually pass this passage, because it's gonna have an impact on everything. It has got impact on teachers. It's got impact on the economy because kids are home, so parents are home, so they can't work. Okay, it's got impact on digital divide, because the digital divide makes that people will have access to education, other people will not have access to education. So it's a government issue. It's no longer a private sector issue or anything else. It is how does public sector work, in this case with private sector, to make sure that we can actually overcome this whole issue that we're having today.
Yeah, the government sector, what we know, like Nadia said earlier, is the fund, channeling of this fund to what is important. Like right now, digital education and agriculture is paramount in this pandemic. So if the government puts enough funds in the educational system and, like you said, train the teachers, that's going to cost money too, because these teachers have to know. Most of them didn't have digital skills before this pandemic. Yeah. So putting them through, educating them enough for them to transfer to this young ones is going to take a lot, and the government will have to do something. So like you rightly said, I think this question is actually for the government. How will the government sit up, upgrade the system so much that the teachers can actually give this? It's going
to take time, and I think we have to realize that. If I look at the French system, how long has it been? If I listen to my husband and I listen to my kids, what they live in school, it's the same thing. Seriously, it's the same thing. Yes. Except that one has a tablet and one doesn't. Okay, fair enough. But it's exactly the same thing. So how do you move teachers from training 21st century skills, which is problem solving, collaboration, analytical skills, questioning of media, for example, because we just figure out that media tells us what it's supposed to be, but it's not really verified. Digital in this case, how do you work on that? How do you work on science? All those kind of things. How do you collaborate worldwide? So all those things need to be taught. But if you have teachers that haven't been trained in that area, that's going to be complicated. So the only way to do that is to provide them with teacher training. So you train up master trainers, a big load. And in Nigeria, for example, you've got a lot of teachers. So it's a lot of master trainers to train. And then you cascade it down. That allows you to have the knowledge in the country. It doesn't leave with the provider who provides you with that knowledge. And it makes you independent. Okay. So yes, you do need funds for that, but the funds are not as big as when you say, okay, we're taking an international provider and they're going to do everything. They're going to provide us with devices, they do connectivity, they charge us for the training, and all these expats are coming in. You don't need hundreds of thousands of expats to do this. You can do it yourself. You've got a lot of good trainers actually in Nigeria.
Okay.
Okay, that wasn't the answer I was expecting. Yes,
that's it. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure having you both. It's like
I want to say,
Nadia would like to add something.
Yes, I will give. In fact, we are not focused on the right things. We are giving the power to an energy we called money, finance. But if we look at the nature, how it is working, we can see that there is solidarity. And it's not, this problem is not only a problem for the government. Everyone is concerned. We are all responsible of that. And we all need to work in solidarity together. You know, if you see the nature, when you are going to take the fruit from the tree, do you think that the tree will tell you, oh, you need to pay me? No. See, today we can solve all the problems if we work in solidarity. For example, in a village, you are going to a village who is struggling. They have no food, they have nothing. Okay. But if together they motivate all together and say, okay, I will plant the vegetable, you will plant the fruit, I will take care of the rice, you will take care of the water. Okay, there's a work of solidarity. They are unit in one cause. And this is what should happen also for all what is called finance for the government, for the children and education. All together, not only the government, but all the organization. Today you see everywhere, we see everywhere a lot of organization making a great job. Yes, they're all working very well. They are all making a great job. They are all making fundraising to help the others. But the result is always the same. We can't really see the change, the big impact. Why? Because we are all working separately. If we join all together like an infinite puzzle, to complete each other, bring the experience from the one and the others, yes, we can change the things. And it will not take long time. I'm telling you, when you decide something, you decide to change. The most important is to accept the change and say, okay, let's go to another step. We have this problem. Let's focus on the source of the problem. The government has the money. Yes, they have. They have just to direct their money to invest in the right thing. It's an energy. It's like focus your energy in something real, necessary, utile. I don't know how we said. Useful. We have the money. We have the solution, but we are not paying attention to the real solution. We are not focused on that. It's like we are searching the solution like the fish is searching the water. You know, we are living in. We pay attention to the nature. Pay attention around you. There's a work of solidarity, unity. We cannot work together alone. You know, I think that even this problem of education can be solved. The problem of finance also can be solved if we all focus in the same things, all together at the same time.
All right, thank you, Queen Nadia. Now, considering what we have discussed, ranging from the educational system, the teacher, the digital skills, the government coming as ahead. On a final note, before we end our interview, what are your advices to young people looking to invest or do business in Africa? Remember, you said financial education, growing skills, creativity, things like that. There are some youth actually that are not sitting down waiting for the government to do something for them. They actually have the technical know-how, they have the creativity, you're ready and willing to work. What advice can you give to such young people to invest or do business in Africa, Asia, and even Europe?
You know, people, they are investing in a country at peace, because peace, a country at peace is a healthy, wealthy country and attract the investors. Okay. In Africa, I have faced that several times, where I had good friends. They wanted to invest also in Africa, but they are scared. They are scared because some of them, they are scared because they are too poor. I would say that they are too poor, that they have only the money. Okay, they have not the heart, they have not the mind. But you know, investing in Africa, not only in Africa, but investing is the security that you are making. Okay, for example, when I am investing in Africa, what I am looking for, I am looking for a security. I am the environment.
Okay.
You know, everything has its own importance. I don't know how we can say it in English. I will say, can I say it in French? She will translate probably. Thank you. Thank you. En fait, on a envie d'investir en Afrique lorsque le pays est stable. Lorsque, voilà, moi personnellement, quand je veux investir, je veux voir que tout est en harmonie, que ce soit aussi bien, que ce soit dans le respect de l'environnement, que ce soit un investissement utile, tu comprends, dans le respect des autres, et pas venir, voilà, je veux investir et détruire les racines des gens ou quoi que ce soit, tu comprends? C'est ça, c'est dans le respect des autres, le respect de l'environnement, le respect de la faune, le respect de la flore, le respect de chacun, et en harmonie avec tout le monde.
Right.
Tu comprends?
Okay. Yeah, moi j'entends. Alors, basically what she says is she wants to invest, and I think she already has actually done, she wants to invest in a stable environment, which provides you also with things that make sense, right? So the respect of the investment of the environment, the utility of the investment in the end. So we're not there to rob a country, but you're there to invest in the future in a way. That is kind of what we're looking for. And I think to complement that, I think it's important to say that we're looking for long term.
Yes, sustainable development.
You're not in there in the short term. I've been working on this for the last, 3-4 years. We're actually in investment rounds at the moment. So we're talking to investors at the moment. We're a social enterprise. But therefore, what we also do is, what I'm looking for is people for long term. I'm not looking for short term wins. Yeah. It's not very productive. It's not for me. It's not fun. It's very simple. It's not fun. I like to work with people who have a vision for a longer term, who wants to invest, who wants to make an impact, and who will add something instead of just taking away money and that's it. So that is what
it's not about taking money. It's to respect and communicate, you know, exchanging the communication, exchanging experience, respect the other. You have some investors, they are going to Africa and they just impose their superiority because they are bringing the money. So they think themselves that they are the master of the area, etc. I don't want this kind of investment. I want an investment in harmony, in respect. You know?
Yeah, no, I agree.
So this is, I invite people to invest for the sustainable development, etc. To bring an impact, economic, financial, social, etc., environmental, etc.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
All right. So in a nutshell, anybody that wants to invest, the youths, great investors, look out for security and a sane country economy. Of course, you don't go into business on a waterlogged area. You go into business where you can actually sit back and run your business to get very wonderful results. I want to say a big thank you. It's been amazing. It's been wonderful. In fact, I wish you can go on and on and on, but I think we'll have to come back some other time. But for now, we have to go because our time is up. Thank you once again, Her Majesty Queen Nadia and Ambassador
Thank you
Perrin.
so much for inviting me.
Thanks very much. It's been a pleasure
having you.
Yes.
And I can't wait for you both to come to Nigeria. I can't wait because
I will come very soon in Nigeria. I have a plan for Nigeria.
I can't wait to see you, and I can't wait to work with you because as women, as we have discussed, as we have said, we are the future of this world, and we need to do things together. We need to empower ourselves. We need to teach ourselves. We need to get to that stage where a location, a race, ethnicity, religion shouldn't be a barrier. We need to cut across these challenges and work together so that we can achieve a greater world. Thank you once again for coming on FBI African Show. It's been a wonderful pleasure. I can't appreciate you enough. It was an impromptu interview. Thank you for accepting to do it with us in Pan-Africa Leadership Watch. So we'll have you another time, and